guys, so I'm back with another video. I've literally tried to record this video like 3 times now, 3 or 4 times almost. So I'm just gonna go over what all I talked about, and hopefully this helps you. So it says, be careful who you're around. I feel like God was laying it on my heart because I know he has been recently telling me personally about like I need to be more aware of who I'm hanging out with, and certain people I just need to stop being around in general, so I decided I feel like this would be a good video to make. So one thing, I have my notes right here, so one thing I want to say before I go over the list is Satan is very cunning, and he will send people your way just to get you off the right path and the straight and narrow. Always bring your friends up to God and ask who is meant to be in your life and who is not. That would have saved me so much time when I first came to God. That would have saved me so much like heartache and tears and just time in general if I would have brought it up to God, like, hey, like, are these people meant to be in my life? Like, am I meant to be around these certain people? So the first thing that does kind of go into the first one. So the first one is listening is key. My personal experience with not listening is like, for a while now, I'm not going to name drop, but for a while now, I had been getting convicted about hanging out with these certain people. And obviously my stubborn, hard-headed self didn't want to listen. So after a while, God stopped convicting me about it. So I was like, oh, okay, like maybe that was just me feeling that way towards them. So I'd continue hanging out with them, right? And then after a while, like when we'd be hanging out, everything was fine until I'd get home that night or the next day. It would be terrible for me. Like, I'd have really bad anxiety. I'd have no energy. I'd be like extremely, extremely depressed. Like, I wouldn't want to get out of bed type of depressed. And I started piecing two and two together, like, and I started remembering, like, oh yeah, God was convicting me about hanging out with them in general. And now every time I hang out with them, afterwards, I feel so bad. Like, I started being like, dang, I really do need to listen to God. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do not need to be around these people. I don't want to feel I don't want to feel this way anymore. So obviously I started to listen because of how it was making me feel. But I want to say, like, listening to God is really, really important because, it can stop you from, obviously, like, who knows what God is trying to save you from, and and who knows what he's trying to warn you about. Like, God has a specific way of trying to warn us. Like, he might convict you, or he might show you something around them. For me personally, like, it was both. Like, God would show me little signs when I'd be around them, like, hey, you don't need to be around these people, but he'd also convict me before I'd start hanging out with them. So please, please, please make sure you're listening to God about who you need to be around and what you need to be doing. So the second one would be taking action. So it says, so let's say God has let you know and has made it clear to you who he doesn't want you hanging around. What action should you take? Well, obviously make sure your communication is clear with God. Make sure make sure that communication is like clear. Like, you're always bringing that up to God. You know what I'm saying? And another thing that I have wrote down is like, which was extremely hard for me, and it's something I'm still like trying, like, in the process of kind of doing, but kind of not. But if I'm saying this, if I'm telling you to do it, that means I have to do it, or God is gonna, be harsher on me because of it, and it's being honest with these people. For me personally, I'd always be quick to like just ghost somebody and not like talk to them about it, but being honest would really help, especially if, like, let's say these people do generally like you and generally care about you and your well-being. They'd understand and they'd respect your decision. If you're like, look, God, I've been getting closer with God, and he's just convicting me about hanging out with you and doing what we've been doing and all these things. And if they generally care about you, if they generally want the best for you, they'd understand and respect that and be like, I care, I thank you for telling me, and and that'd be it, but but by being honest with these people, if they're not receptive to what you're saying, if they just kind of blow it off, if they don't receive it, then that lets you know as well. Like, that lets you know that these people, they didn't care about me to begin with. You know what I'm saying? So that is something that I have to do, but I also advise you to do it because, before I made this video, God had me write that down for a reason. I prayed on it, and I feel like he's wanting me to do that, but I also feel like he would want you to do that as well, especially if you're going through this and similar things that I'm going through. So yeah, make sure you're being honest, and like I said, if they genuinely care about you, they'll respect your decision, and if they don't, then you already know God wouldn't have to tell you at that point, that you know what you'd have to do, and peace, and let it be what it is. And the third thing would be praying for the right people and believing God will bring them in your life and not dwelling on the past. So it's good to have friends. I don't want to make it seem like, you got to be weary about whoever you're around and this, and that. To an extent you do, especially if you're trying to, honor God and be obedient to him. You want to make sure, you're in the right position with God, and you're hanging around the right people, but make sure you're praying too, especially if you have to give up friends, or in general, or you're not around the right people. Make sure you pray about those people. Make sure you pray for the wrong people, but also pray for pray for the people that are in your life that aren't meant for you, but pray for the right people as well. Pray for those people, for God to bring them into your life, but also, don't dwell on the past, because, for me, that's also something that I struggle with. Those people weren't in my life for years or anything, but it had been some months, and we, got pretty close quickly. So it was harder for me to just be like, blow it off and, go on about my day. So I think that had something to do with me not listening to God, because I didn't want to give them up, honestly. But if God is steady warning you about these people, there's a reason, because he has been in rooms that you have not been in, and he's heard things that you have not heard. So that's something that I have to keep telling myself, But yeah, make sure you're praying for the right people, but also, not dwell on the past, because if you're dwelling on the past, like, you're never going to move forward, and you're always going to be stuck, and you're always going to be thinking about the memories, and you're going to be so stuck in the past that you can't enjoy the present moment, and you can't enjoy the future when it comes, So make sure you're praying for the right people, but also let the past be the past. Move on, because God has better for you. And I can say this for, like, an absolute fact. Like, if God takes something away from you, he's always, and I promise you, he is always bringing something better with taking something away. I promise you. So, oh yeah. Also pray for healing, especially if you're giving up somebody that you've been with for a while, like, if relationship wise or just friendship. Like, always make sure you're praying for healing, because the longer you're hanging out with somebody, you develop a soul tie. And I know some people would be like, how can you develop a soul tie if you're not, being intimate with that person? But it's like, it's because you're sharing energy. You're constantly around that person. You're constantly giving your energy away to that person, and they're giving their energy to you. So that develops a soul tie. So make sure you're praying for healing, and let God heal you from those things, and let God take away those soul ties, and let him heal you, and let him bring the right people into your life. And again, don't dwell on the past, because God always, I promise 100%, always has better for you, in the future and in the present, So with that, I really hope that helps you. I've literally made this video 4 times, and I'm just ready to get this video out. So yeah, I really do hope this helps you in some type of way. Obviously, I want all my videos to help you, but like I was saying before, I hope this blessed you, and I pray that you have a good day or night whenever you're seeing this. And until next time, bye.